Welcome back to Barrel Brothers. While we're waiting for, well, Shannon to turn up so we can do a bit of inlet manifold stuff, he's not an early riser. You know, he's got to get up and have his coffee and pick the smoke butts out of his beard, which is odd because he's a non-smoker. So I thought what we might do the little Honda. This is back from Will, Shamrock Motorcycle Repairs, and he has helicoiled the plug thread.
Look how cute these little valves are.
So we'll dig her out, chuck it up on the stand, and attempt to put it back together with no instructions, hoping that there's some marks where to put the timing chain and cam and whatnot. I've just been on the phone to Will and asked him what the torque specs is. They're only 6mm studs. I don't want to go overkill. So, and he's just told me, so I'm about to say, this looks like massive overkill, but it really isn't. It's only a 3/8 drive, but it's really accurate. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so the head is all on and torqued down. We've put the timing chain back on and the cam gear and everything. It's sort of pretty easy, it all lines up. There's a T for top dead center here on a mark on the side, and that just lines up everything here, so it's good to go. So we've put that back on, we've tensioned it back. I just basically tensioned it back to, I made some marks down here and there's a little 0 on there, so I took some photos when we took it apart and I've just put it back the same as that. Everything seems to be pretty happy. It's making all sort of nice oily noises, so we'll just continue putting it back together while old mate, as you can hear, old mate Blower Boy's back again. So let's just start getting the rest of it back together. Right, just have to figure out how it goes back together now, in what order. Of course, I forgot the bit about having to move the engine so we can actually get the head in. The eagle eye amongst you may have noticed this. It's presently keeping me inflated. It's a blood pressure monitor. People seem to think I may be dying. I have no plans to do that, I'll tell you. I like to put everything back on the original way around, like the washers and everything, so it all looks, you know, as it was. I know I'm going to knock this arse over tip any moment and drop all my screws on the floor. So we'll place it precariously there, so any bump will make it fall down and all the washers and nuts and stuff will go everywhere. See, I plan ahead. I plan to fail well ahead of time. Okie dokie, we're up to here. Next time I'm going to try doing it with time lapse instead of just drinking gallons of this stuff. And no, I'm not sponsored by the smooth, delicious taste of Boss coffee, which you can find in your well, you can't find these ones in your local store. These are the Japanese ones. You can tell the difference. See, it's got a pipe. Yeah, we're too PC in Australia to have, for the man to have a pipe, which he's traditionally had. You know, just take the warning labels off and let it sort itself out. Just saying, I'm just saying. Why does it look like that, you might ask? Well, I stitched it all up and then I did a couple of slow turnovers and I could hear a hiss back into the intake. I thought, oh geez, I've got the cam wrong or something or other, so I should have tested this before I put the tank and seat and everything on it too. So I took the tank and seat back off, took the rocker cover off and the side cover off just to make sure my timing was all right here and here. And it was bang on. Okay, it's weird here. So I turned it over a couple. Where this hiss is coming from, it's coming from the intake. Okay, bite the bullet, pull it all apart again. What it was, there was a little bit of crap caught under the inlet valve. I didn't have any compression, it was just hissing back through the intake. So you got the head back off. That's how I found out there was a bit of crap caught under it. Made up a little U-Butte spring compressory thing here that hooked up and compressor springs, got the collets out. There was a little bit of junk, it was just caught in under the inlet valve. This is why you should keep everything clean when you try and put them together, which I didn't do. Got to learn these things, even though like it's bloody obvious. Anyway, taking it out wasn't too bad, except that it slipped off my little gizmo there, and this here went flying, and I had to search around for that. Collets out and everything. Cleaned it all up, used a little bit of lapping compound and lapped the valve back in. A little suction cup on a wooden stick is usually the best for that, just give it a bit of a spin. And then putting it back together, how am I going to use my spring compressor here and put the collets back in? My solution was, I actually clamped it up with this spanner across the top. So it was all clamped up, which took a couple of goes to do because it's precarious. And just proceeded to clamp it down far enough, and then put a socket underneath the valve just to hold it open. And my pliers carefully put the collets back in because it was pulling over to one side, so I had to muck around with it a little bit. Didn't go ping again, which was good, and put them back in. So we're back to here again, and I've got to put it all back together again. So, hey Gian, my editing guy.
Yes, +1 for the beard, by the way.
Just play the other tape where I put it all back together. Sort of sounds like it needs a tap run down it, but I don't have an M14 tap, so we're going farmyard style. Tighten it up until it strips and then back it off one flat. Australian Dirt Bike magazine. There was a guy in there that had just some brilliant turns of phrase. Had so much power I was hanging off it like a flag. My ass was hanging out so far you could cut washers off it. Handled like a pie full of dog dribble. After last week's debacle with the YZ80E where the tyre went kablamo, well, this is all very good and original and full of cracks and whatnot. I have decided to invest in new ones. So this one and the YZ80E are getting new front and back tyres, original size front and back tyres. This is always a hassle. Is that the right way around? I know I'm making things hard for myself, but I don't want to loosen everything off. I got it back on before the other day. I don't know why I can't put it back on now. Persistence, you see. Look at that, I haven't even got out a 10mm spanner yet. Jeez. How am I supposed to get anything done on an XR75 without a 10mm spanner? Sockets a go. Alright, so I need the cam in the firing position. It's going to be the right place for it. Why assembly oil at this point? Well, all the oil sits down in here. So when you're on startup, it takes a little while to get up to the top here. Now it's been sitting for a little while. So we want to make sure that our cam and lifters, rockers here, are lubricated on startup. That's why you never rev a cold engine, because it will bugger it. Of course, these are going to have to be torqued, so I'll have to look up on the interwebs, where what the torque setting is. So the oil's actually pumped up through the head, as far as I know, through one of the studs. There's oil holes in it, and it just washes everything basically up the top there. So nothing in there. I've had it sitting under a rag, so bearings all in place. The young bloke was asking me the other day whether I was going to put these through the blaster. The problem with that is it makes it all look like brand new, which is not going to suit the rest of the bike. So I'm just going to leave it like that. This old gasket's about 1 million years old. You can see this has been busted at some stage and glued back together. They're very hard to find, these guys, because they've all been busted and then glued back together. 1 million year old gasket that doesn't seal anymore, but it doesn't really matter because it's not like I'm going to be riding it around in the rain. Somebody else buys it off me eventually. Somebody else prizes it from my cold dead fingers. I don't think these are supposed to be Allen keys, but that's what's on there. Looks like Will's giving me a new spark plug too. Look how careful I'm being. Otherwise, can we just slap these together? Okay, so what I think I'm going to do now is lower it down. We've got a bit of compression here. I might just try giving it a start like it is. We should have enough fuel in the carby, just in the bowl, to get it started. But we do have some compression now, which is very good. Nothing. It's got compression, we've got spark. Some more fuel. So I got it all together and just basically put everything back together and tried to start it up and kicked it and kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked and it just wouldn't go. So like even I started pulling things apart, maybe I got the timing wrong, so even right back to, I had the head back off again, just checking everything, putting on and the timing and where everything lined up, and I put it all back to, you see that it hasn't got the rocker cover on at the moment, put it all back together and it still wouldn't start. Do you notice the word missing from this conversation? This is dedicated to Mr. Steve Daniel. He'll know what it's all about. Okay, it's not silver, but see you next time.